Hi guys, my name is Eddie Ferreira, and today I'm presenting to you guys the halo and horns effect, which are two major concepts in interpersonal communication that explain how quickly we judge others based on one piece of information. These ideas were first identified by a psychologist known as Edward Thorndike in 1920, and they helped explain why first impressions, especially facial expressions, can be so powerful. Today, I'm also including updated research from Radik and Steleshki in 2020 to build on what we've learned in class. So, what does this concept mean? The halo effect. The halo effect happens to be the most positive trait or expressions, like a smile. It makes us assume a whole list of other positive qualities about this person. For example, if somebody smiles at us, we automatically may think they are friendly, trustworthy, confident, kind, or even more attractive. One small thing creates a halo effect over everything else we assume about them. Meanwhile, we have the horns effect. The horns effect is quite literally the complete opposite. One negative expression, like a scowl or an annoyed look, makes us assume negative characteristics. We might assume the person is rude, dangerous, unfriendly, dishonest, or avoid somebody, perhaps maybe less attractive. Both effects show how nonverbal communication influenced interpersonal communication even before words were even spoken or even exchanged. Here's a few everyday examples of how these effects show up in communication. So, for example, school. A teacher might see a student smiling, think they're motivated, even if the student hasn't studied. Work. A coworker who looks irritated might be judged as difficult or leading to unnecessary conflict or probably pushing their annoyance onto other people's stresses. In relationships, a partner's neutral face might be misread as anger, leading to more unnecessary conflict. Or even strangers, we may be willing to be more trustworthy to a stranger quickly with a smile and quickly feel uneasy around somebody with a tense expression, even with zero information and zero exchanging of words. These examples show how much our first impressions biases shape communications. A study by Mary Catherine Redick and Anthony Sejeski in 2020 looked at how facial expressions influence age and gender stereotypes. Participants viewed photos, both men and women, and young and old, showing different expressions. Here's what they found: the smiley faces, the good old halo effect, they were rated as least threatening, judged as more likable, perhaps even emotionally stable. They were seen as more attractive. Very interestingly, stereotypes about age and gender were softened, and they are viewed as more honest and warm. Now we have the scowling effect. The scowling faces with the horns effect. They were rated as most threatening. They were judged as unfriendly or dishonest, seen as less attractive, and age and gender stereotypes, unlike the halo effect, became more negative, and they were viewed as unapproachable, intimidating. We didn't want to talk to them. Meanwhile, the neutral faces, they fell between smiling and scolding. Even tiny expressions could shift judgment downward. One small change could alter people's assumptions instantly. This research shows that one facial expression can shape our entire perception of someone, even when we don't realize it. So you might ask, why does this matter? This matters because understanding these effects matters because they influence how we treat people, who we trust, who we avoid, how conflicts start, or better yet, how relationships form. For me personally, learning this concept helped me realize how quickly I judge people before knowing them or knowing their real story. It reminds me to slow down, give people a chance, and avoid jumping to conclusions based on how somebody looks in one moment. Like, for example, I have a couple of friends with RBF, known as resting beep face. And usually, before they find me and I see them, before we tend to link up, they'll be looking around like this, mad, just like looking mad. But once they see me, they're like, it's just instantly like, that's why it's like so quickly just to not judge people, because some people really do have a resting beep face. So it's quick to not judge people without truly knowing them. This awareness improves communication by making us more fair, more empathetic, and more accurate in understanding others, and less controlled by bias. In conclusion, the halo effects show how powerful facial expressions, truly first impressions really, how important they really are. A single smile or skull can completely shape the assumptions we make about somebody's personality, honesty, or even safety. By understanding these effects, we could communicate more fairly, we could reduce misjudgments, and we could better build relationships in every area of life, from work to school to everyday interactions. These are important and essential to put to the side and note before judging somebody's book by its cover. Thank you for listening. My name is Varia Ferreira, and this is my presentation to you of the halo and horns effect.